The company I work for uses ServiceNow to track all of their tickets, but they're not actually using it for Salesforce changes. I get those either via email or a phone call. And I started tracking some of them in ServiceNow and decided it's okay. And then I was tracking some of them in Excel, and I was like, why am I not tracking it in Salesforce? And then that way I can set up some automations to automatically email the users so that they kind of know the status as we go along. So we're going to build that today. We want to make sure that we're in setup and that you're in Object Manager. So make sure that you click on Object Manager. Once you're here, then we're going to go ahead and click on Create. And we'll create a custom object. I'm going to call it Salesforce Ticket. And plural is Salesforce Tickets. Always make sure you put in a description. We're going to do an auto number for our data type. It's easier when you're running reports and creating some dashboards to track this. If you're not sure what the display format is, you can click on what is this, and it will pop up and give you an example. So if you just do the 0, it's just going to start a sequence number with no formatting, no special leading zeros or anything. That's actually what I want, and we're going to start at number 1. We want to be able to do reports, track all activities, and track field history. If you wanted to, you could create chatter groups if your company uses chatter a lot and allow this to be done via chatter. We're going to come make sure it's deployed. We want to make sure also that it is allowed in the search. If you wanted, you could add notes and attachments to the related list. I'm not going to. I'm also not going to launch a new custom tab after saving this. I'm going to go ahead and save because I just want the one new custom object. Once it's saved, it's going to go ahead and open all the details for that object. We need to now create all the fields that we want. Of course, it comes with a few standard fields, and again, we've got our auto number field that we had set up. So I already have a list of fields that I want created, things that I'm going to track for my Salesforce tickets. You can add or remove or make some changes to these as you feel for your organization. The first thing I want to know is who's requesting this. And it's going to be a lookup because they're a user in Salesforce, obviously. So we're going to look up to the Salesforce user. Again, if you needed help text to help figure out what this field is for, you could fill that in. Again, it's going to be a child relationship. We'll go ahead and say next. What all profiles do you want this on? You could just allow it just for the system admin if you're going to be the only one that's going in and adding and removing these. But if you want to set up the email to case, then you need to make sure that everybody that is going to have the ability to email you an issue has access to. I'm going to go ahead and leave the defaults and go ahead and say next. And we're just going to create a reference on our page layout. I'm going to go ahead and say save and new because I have a bunch more fields that I want to create. So again, my next one is if this needs approved by somebody, who's the approver? So again, they need to be in Salesforce, so I'm going to make it a lookup again to the user. We're going to call this the approver. Not everything needs an approver, so I will just put if needed Same on our child relationship. Go ahead and say next. Same on our profiles, same on our layout, and I have more fields. So the next one is going to be a requested by date. When do they want it done? I'm just going to make it a date field. And we want to require this. That way we get an idea from them. Okay, when does this need to be done? Set up profiles, our page layouts, and my next field. The next one is going to be the date that I completed the work. I'm not going to require it because I don't know when I'm going to get it finished. Then we'll choose our profiles, our page layout, and do my next field. Now this next one is what's the status of the ticket. So I'm going to make a pick list. And we'll call it status. And I'm going to enter values because these are what I want. So it's a new one, it's in development, it's in testing, it's paused, it's completed, it's canceled, or it's been rejected. And I want them to display actually in that order, and I want new to be my default so that they all get assigned that, and I'm only going to allow them to choose items from this list. And again, this should be required. We always need to let the users know what the status is. Choose our profiles, our layout. And my next field is going to also be a pick list. It's going to be what's the priority. Is it high, medium, or low? And again, we need to require this so that they tell us what the priority is for them. So my profile, this is my page layout. All right, the next one is I need to know what department this person works in. We have lots of departments and thousands of users at the company I work for, and of course I'm not going to know everybody or remember everything, and this just makes it easier if I need to contact them or figure out who their approver needs to be. So again, I'm going to go ahead and do a pick list. I will enter my values. And I actually want these to be in alphabetical order. And again, I need to require it because I don't always know what department that they're in. And the next one is going to also be a pick list, and it's basically asking, okay, what's the object that this change is going to be made in? And this one, it could be a multi-select where it could affect more than one primary object. But there's a lot of negative issues when you start doing a pick list multi-select, trying to run reports on different things. So I'm just going to do a pick list. And if I use more than one object, I'm going to put that in my notes. I will label this primary object. And here's a list of objects. So I have my account, contact, lead. We have some custom objects that we track. All right, again, I want those in alphabetical order. Again, I'm not going to require this one because the user may not have a clue what I'm talking about. All right, again, this next one is going to be a pick list. And this is kind of what type of request is this? Is it a change or an addition? We have a lot of new user requests, and we do a lot with new community users. And actually what I might do instead is just put it as a user in case there's an issue with an existing user. That way it could be a new or an existing user. And I'm just going to leave those in that order. We're going to go ahead and require this. I'm not defaulting anything, they have to choose one. Now, if you want to automate a few more things, you could create subjects if you want to have the user type in a subject and all of that. I'm just going to do a rich text field. Called description, where they can type in whatever they need. And the last one is I'm going to create one called admin notes. Just a text area alone where I can type in everything that I did to make changes. Next. And that was the last of my fields that I want to track, so I'm going to go ahead and save that. So now we can go to our page layout. Notice that it's already created one for us. And every field that I told it to add to this page layout should automatically be added on the screen. If I like it this way, I can make changes, move things around, put them in different orders, just kind of pretty it up to make it work for how I need to enter and track this information. So let's go ahead and put who requested it, and who their approver is, when they want it by, and when I got it done by. One thing I could do is I could add some notes and attachments. That way, if they sent me an email and I wanted to save that to PDF and attach it so that I have proof of the original request, we could add that, notes and attachments. You could also create some other notes or do some files if you wanted to. I'm going to go ahead and save that. The other thing is we could go over here to the compact layout and we could clone it if we wanted to customize and create our own highlights panel at the top so that it's basically customized to see the fields that we want to see. I can't show you right now because I need to create an app with that object on it. So let's go over here and create a new Lightning app. Call it Salesforce Ticket Tracker. I don't have any images. I'll just skip that. It'll be available for the desktop and the phone. Again, if you were using Chatter, you could drop those actions at the bottom of the screen. We really don't have anything that we need, so we'll skip that. Since I didn't add a tab when we first created it, I need to make sure that I come out here and I create a tab for this object. So I'm going to search for tabs. Create a new one. I'm going to choose my Salesforce ticket object. Pick whatever picture I want. You can enter a short description if you like. I'll go ahead and say next. Who can see this? By default. So again, if you want people to be able to enter and edit it, you can. Otherwise, you can turn it off for everybody. I could also come up here and say, okay, I want it off for everybody except for the system admin. So everybody's off, and then I'll turn it on for the system admin. And then it's asking what apps do you want it tied to. We haven't created one, so we don't want to attach it to any existing. I'll go ahead and save it. So now when I'm back out here and I create my new Lightning app, I should now be able to choose it as an available item for my app. And then we're going to assign it to the system administrator profile. Save and finish. And now if I go out here and I search for my Salesforce, I now have my Salesforce ticket app. And I can create a new one. And here's all the fields on the page layout like I had defined. Again, it defaults my status to new. Here's the user requesting this. We don't need an approver. We need it done in a couple of days. So I can save it and I can now track. So we were talking earlier about a highlights panel. We don't really have any fields up here that we could highlight. So if we wanted to add some fields that we could quickly look at rather than having to search for all of this, you could go out and you could create a highlight panel just so you can see key information. When we do that, we're going to come out here to our object manager for our Salesforce ticket. Go to compact layouts. We need to create a new one, or we can clone the default one. If you open system default, you could clone it. I'm going to name it, and here, what are the fields that you want to see at the top? So I'd like to see like the type, and what the priority is, and what the status is. Go ahead and save that. And we can assign it. It's our default. So now when we go back for Salesforce tickets, you may have to refresh, and you should now see this highlights panel with those fields that we added in our compact layout. If your page doesn't have the highlights page, you can click the gear here and go to edit page. Sometimes it takes a little bit too, and you'll come in here and you'll look at this top panel and you'll be like, oh wait, there it is. Why is it not showing? You could go ahead and just save it again, basically force a refresh. If you didn't have this highlights panel, see here on the right you have a highlight, or left you have a highlight panel. You could drag it up and that would add a highlight panel to your page. So we've now created our custom object. We're able to track this. We'll do another video where we can talk about some of the automations.